Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Coaching Call podcast. On this podcast, we'll cover various types of coaching by trainers in sports, martial arts, fitness, and business. We'll discuss each coach's methods to getting the most out of their respective athletes or clients and how they attempt to change the platform in which they coach. Join us on a fun adventure as we discuss unique coaching styles. Coaching is a universal part of how we get others to get something done. Join your host, Rafael, and his guests on this unique journey in coaching.
Hi, I'm Sifu Rafael, and this is the Coaching Call podcast. If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. This episode was made possible by listeners like you. Michelle, good morning. Oh my goodness, Michelle. You are probably one of the funnest persons I've met in a very, very, very long time. How are you?
I am fantastic, and I'm honored to be here, Sifu. You're one of my favorite people.
Look at that, right? Michelle, you and I met at an event through Connected Leaders Academy. A good friend of mine and yours is Jose Escobar. And it's funny because I liked you as a person, and you said, come to my booth. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I never did until later on. And then I was like, okay, I'm in, right? When we met, there was this chemistry that I felt with you because you have this energy that really resonated with me, and it does even till today. And every time I've ever seen you, whether it's on screen or in person, it's been so powerful. How do you do it?
Well, Sifu, it wasn't always that easy. I've done a lot of work.
There you go.
That's what I attribute it to because, when life can be hard and we all go through our struggles, but I'm a true believer that we all have a purpose, and those struggles in life make us the person we are. And so really, I mean, if you would have met me years ago, you might not have felt the same way. I don't know. I was very, very different, very different.
Well, here's the cool thing about this show and why I love this show. I'm going to get to know you deeper because I'm going to ask you questions that we're going to get how you used to be and on your journey to becoming who you are today. So let's go back to your childhood. Where were you born? And before the age of 10, who influenced you?
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a great question. So I was born near Pittsburgh. So I live just north of there now. So born and raised in Pennsylvania. Who had the biggest influence on me?
That make you think in this show.
Yeah. There's been so many people in my life, and it might sound really weird. Me and my dad never had a really great relationship, and it was a very dysfunctional family, but I think he actually made the biggest impact in my life, and I'm shocked that I'm saying those words. How's that?
I always say that we need to give credit to the people that may even have hurt us. And I do all the time, right? Because they do shape us. They either shape us in the way we are going to turn out to be like them or to be so different than them. And they taught us what not to do.
Yeah. Very well said.
Well, it's happened in my life. You kind of know my story a little bit, but let's get back to your dad. So why do you say that about him?
Why do I say that he made me the way I am?
No, earlier, back when you were 10.
It was a very interesting way of growing up. So my brother, he's legally blind. My mom never really had a life, so she didn't drive. She was very controlled by him. Narcissism ran very high.
Ooh.
And I didn't feel like I belonged, right? Because I was always trying to fight to get out of that house. In fact, I started running away at like 12.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. I ran away at 10, so see, we have so many things in common.
Yeah. Actually, the first memory I have of me running away was I was literally in like kindergarten, and I had just learned to write, and my mom used to do crossword puzzles. And so I put this like little note, like I left in the crossword puzzle book, because I was like, well, if she's going to find it, because that's where she spends her time, right? And
Mm.
I ran up the hill, and then I just sat there. So
Wow.
I don't know if that counts or not, but
But that was pretty clever of you. I mean, Jesus, working on a crossword puzzle to leave a message.
yeah.
Very cool, kind of for a kindergartner, right? So you got to the top of the hill and then you just stayed there.
Yeah,
What did you see?
that's a great question. So we had this huge, like, it was just a huge, like, hill in the back of our house. And actually, the only thing that was going through my head was like, I wonder how long it's going to take them to realize I'm even gone. Right? um, but now that I look back, it's like I don't remember a lot of my childhood. But when you said that, I literally got this vision of exactly what the back of that house looked like,
Mhm.
and like my view.
Yeah.
And that is crazy.
It is, isn't it? When we can dig back, because all those memories, no matter what we think, they're there. And I got this download, if you will. I had a gentleman who once said to me, I can't answer that right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the little guy who has all my post-it notes to run around and find that thought, and it'll come back to me. I was like, wow, that is so cool. And now it's almost, if you imagine there's a little, for you, a little girl, a little old lady, whoever it is, has all the post-it notes of all your memories. And then you say, go find me this memory. And it runs around looking for it, gets it, comes back and goes, here it is. How cool is that?
That's awesome.
So I've been using that. And now I realize that my memory is better than I imagined it would be. Because now I say, it's not that I forgot, it's that I don't know where it is. Now let me go find it. So
Oh,
let the little person in there go look for it.
that's really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
I hope you do.
I will.
You're going to do it today when we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be referring to those post-it notes quite a bit.
That's right. That's right. So you ran up the hill. Memory of you is, how long will it take before they find me? And that's it had to be tough for you to even have that thought as a little girl, to imagine that. It's very interesting. You and I had a similar not outcome, because we have different lives, but ideas. One time I left my house for 3 days. Nobody even knew I was gone. When I returned, didn't even notice. 3 days, right?
Wow.
And that's around 10 years old, before I fully ran away. Um, and I just decided to hang out with my friends. And I knew nobody was looking for me. So 3 full days, I slept on somebody's couch. I did this, I did that. I ate here and there. And then one day I said, I'll go back home. Nobody even noticed I was gone.
Wow.
But it makes us think, right?
Yep.
Like you had that thought, will they even value me anymore? Narciss- narcissistic behaviors. What was that like? What did you see? Um, because it's abuse, right? Sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's mental, sometimes it's verbal. What was something that stands out for you?
Oh, there's so much. I mean,
I know.
yeah, like, so it made me a fighter
Mm,
because my mom and my brother never stood up for themselves, right? And so I always felt that I had to try to protect them. So it was just, there was so much control, so much negativity, so much, um, like, he has a way about getting people to believe everything he says. Like, he could say the sky is purple, and by the time you leave that room, you're like, well, maybe it is purple,
wow.
right? And so it was just such a horrible atmosphere and
Mm,
environment, right?
right.
And I can just remember always like thinking, like going to other people's houses and thinking, wow, like their family's got it all together.
Well, at least that's what we think, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's almost like when somebody cheats on their spouse because they think the grass is greener, and it really isn't, right? It's just that you didn't work on your relationship. So you understood that you needed to become a fighter, and this is why I love the poster over your right shoulder, right? Because she's a fighter.
Yep.
If you would you take anything back? Would you say, I wish I didn't live that way? I wish I would have lived like Jenny down the block.
No, absolutely not.
Why?
Because I wouldn't be who I am today.
Mm,
Everything everything happens in my opinion, everything happens for a reason to lead you to where you need to be. So you can
yeah.
either dig your heels in and get up and fight, or you can just let life kick your ass. And I let life do that for a really long time,
Mm,
right? And as much as I was fighting, I wasn't learning from the experiences and paying attention to what I needed to do better.
right.
So it was always like fight or flight.
Mm,
And you'll get, so one of my, love Bruce Lee, loved
uh,
Bruce Lee since I was little. So my dad was in martial arts. And so I was around like Bruce Lee movies and all those things. And I always admired him so much because he had such a power inside of him.
mm,
Like nothing shook him, right?
right.
Like he was always just and he mastered his skill.
Right.
And so for that, like I thought, wow, like I want to be like that. I want to have that in power inside of me to be able to be unshakable.
Mm, to be unshakable. I think in order to learn how to become unshakable, we have to get shaken first.
Yeah. Why?
Right. A lot. Sometimes a lot. um, so talk to me about your teenage years. How were they? How was school for you? How did you get treated by other people? Did you allow other people to treat you similarly because that's what you were used to, or
Oh,
that
yeah,
you expected?
absolutely. So I also had weight issues when I was growing
Mhm.
up. So when I was young, I was very, very skinny. And
Wow.
then in like middle school, I gained a ton of weight. In high school, so in middle school, I was made fun of all the time. I can remember people throwing things on the bus at me,
Wow.
um, calling me names.
Mm,
And then I lost a ton of weight, right? I was
mm,
pretty much anorexic at that point. So I had a
mm,
huge eating disorder. Um, And then at that point, it was interesting to me because people who had made fun of me were now like asking me out on dates.
Oh my
Right.
goodness.
And I was thinking, well, this is fascinating, right? It's amazing how different, how you look on the outside creates how someone treats you. And then all of a sudden that shifts and now people are treating you differently.
Right. It's because it's all superficial if you think about it. I was to a client and he said something to me and it was pretty interesting and it was pretty profound. And he said, our spirit is not male or female. I was like, whoa, that's pretty deep. And it made me also think that our spirit is not judgmental,
Mm.
right? So if we were just spirits, we would be roaming, connecting, even embracing probably. And it's our human behavior that makes us act a certain way towards certain people. Because I think this is where racism is, sexism, all these different things, bullying, all these things come from. People are looking because they're judging someone on their looks, the way they speak, the way they interact, even the way they believe. Some people don't like certain political uh, views, and so if you believe in that political guy, I am against you 1,000%. I'm even going to be violent towards you. And wait a minute, what does that mean? Can you imagine two babies looking at each other and just saying, "Well, I don't like you"? No, you see babies, the minute they hug each other out. So why can't we be like babies and have all this nonsense that occupies our bodies and our minds and just be loving human beings? Wouldn't that
Absolutely.
be great?
That's the goal, Sifu. It really is because, life is short
Mm,
and we need to judge less and love more.
yes, absolutely. You went through difficulties with your weight, and it probably stemmed not because of food, it stemmed from your emotions,
Oh, for sure.
right? Did you, or how long did it take for you to not become an emotional eater or non-eater?
That's a great question. I actually had been struggling with this until recently.
Mm.
Uh, I had somewhat of control on it,
Mm.
but I still had my moments. So that it's a really hard thing. Like it seems like you can control certain things in your life, and then there's those certain things that you can't, right? So I actually found a way to control that, and it's been so incredibly magical. Like I'm shocked, and I used to like beat myself up. So I'd be like, oh, well, I ate a piece of cake. Might as well eat the whole cake. I already blew it, right? And then I'm just on this cycle of always doing that. So it's just it was part of me, and I had to learn how to change that. So
Mm.
I have, and I'm very happy about it.
That's awesome. One of the things I tell all my clients is we allow our emotions to control us, right? And so we use our emotions as an excuse. And we say, well, I eat when I'm sad. I eat when I'm angry. I eat when I'm this. but we don't handle the actual emotions that we're going through. And I think when we actually handle the emotions, then the food is no longer the issue. When
Yep.
you,
So true.
am I freezing by any chance? I know I froze earlier.
Yes.
I'm still freezing.
Well, yes, a little
Um,
bit.
I apologize. I apologize. I don't know. I'm connected to the internet. I have good connections. I check everything every day, and sometimes you can't help these things. So I apologize to anybody if you see me frozen. It's maybe I'm in thought. Uh, I'll keep it there.
That works for me.
Right? You're like, he's thinking about something. If I freeze, feel free to just talk to us, right? Because I see you constantly. So, and I see you moving and everything. So the concept for me is we allow our emotions to take control of our daily actions instead of dealing with the emotion. And a lot of times we're afraid to deal with the emotion because it's deep, right? It could be painful. So this is why we say, you know what, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm this, I'm that. I'm just going to eat my way to calm myself. Or for other people, I'm going to drink myself, into sleeping or whatever. And instead of dealing with the emotions, so it's not easy to deal with the emotions, but once we learn to deal with the emotions, life does get better, right?
Yeah.
So we understand that schooling was an issue for you as well. Um, Talk to us about, and I'm not going to give you a timeline anymore, but I want you to start telling me, when did you start finding the beautiful woman I see in front of me?
Wow. So, it was actually accidental.
Mm,
Like I fell into it.
mm,
Um, it was it really what I had two failed marriages, marrying people just like my dad, like that's the
mm.
cycle. Um,
Yeah, of course.
After I lost my job, it was during that period. And I started my own business, right? I was starving, I was drowning in debt. I literally lost everything I owned, had to rebuild my life. And at
Wow.
that point, I had fallen into, oddly enough, network marketing. And that was my first um, put your foot in the water into personal development. I
Mm,
had no idea what personal development even was.
wow.
And so my upline, she was absolutely amazing. And she believed in me before I believed in myself. And that's what I needed. So she had asked me my why. And I can remember this day like it was yesterday. I was literally driving around in my car and it was on Voxer. So it was just like you leave a thing and then you'd voice back, right? And she was like, well, what is your why? And I was like, blah, 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 right? And she'd come back and she'd be like, no, why is that? And I'd be like, and I started getting really angry. I was like, why does she keep asking me this question? Like, what does she want from me?
Right.
And so I ended up like pulling off the side of the road and like all of a sudden, like all of these things came pouring into me. And I was
Mm,
like, wow, wait a second. And then that's what kind of started it. And then I actually started speaking by accident during this time. Like something happened, somebody couldn't show up. They were like, Michelle, can you do this thing? And I was petrified. So public speaking, it was like my worst fear. Like
mm.
heights was up there, but public speaking might have been above it. And so everything kind of just fell into this beautiful design that God had planned for me all along. Who knew?
Look at that, right? It's pretty incredible when we I think we have to, and I'm going to use this word, and I hope everybody can even take notes on this one. It's when we surrender.
Yes.
When we
I
surrender, it allows us to grow.
See, I'm so glad you said that
Yeah.
because that was a huge piece of it. I was literally like, God, take it. It's yours. Like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm just going to ride the wave. Wherever you take me, I'll go. And that was, that was it. It was like, because and I think that was the struggle when I was younger, was I kept going and trying to control things. And I was fighting everything, every step of the way.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. It's interesting, Michelle, because every morning I wake up and first thing I do is I pray, and then I thank God. Listen, I'm awake, I'm alive, I got lungs, I can feel, I can see, I can taste, and then I ask Him for guidance.
Yeah.
I asked Him for guidance before we spoke, right? I asked Him to guide my day, to allow me to share the gifts He's given me with my brothers and sisters so that we can all grow fonder of one another, so we can make a difference in the world through the impact that we've had. So yeah, surrendering is a tough thing for people to acknowledge, but when you do, man, it is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Amen.
There you go. So talk to me about you surrendered. Things started to happen for you. Understanding you was probably very difficult for you at the beginning.
Oh, for sure.
What was the steps that you took?
Well, I had to take a step back. There was so many things that were spiraling out of control in my life. Um, but that's a whole story in itself. Maybe I'll write a book someday about it, right?
Ooh, I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good one, Sifu. It's a good one. At that point, actually, the day I got the tattoo that says God has a plan,
Mm,
I got this tattoo on my arm when my life was literally like at the bottom.
wow.
I, if it weren't for my kids, maybe I would have taken a handful of pills. I know I thought about it.
Mm, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And I tattooed it on my arm so I could see it every day, because everything that was happening, people are like, how are you even dealing with this? And I was like, God's got a plan. I don't know what that is, and I can't control what's happening. So whatever that outcome is, I know it's going to be for my better, right? And so I had to literally shift my mindset to, instead of reacting to everything that was happening to me, I had to embrace it.
Mhm.
And I had to look back and say, like, this is all happening for a reason. I need to learn from this. I need to
Yeah.
grow from this.
Mm,
And I need to be a better person than I was yesterday. And that's all I can do.
that's right. Every day, right? We need
Yep.
to listen. You made my day better than it was yesterday by being here with me. So thank you.
So did you.
I was talking to you may know him from the CLA, Andra. He's the youngest member of the
Oh, yeah.
CLA. He's phenomenal.
He really is amazing.
Yeah, he really is. And anybody should go and take a look at that show I did with him yesterday. And one of the things I recalled it even this morning when I said, you know, every time I go around the block, I meet someone new, and that person helps me. They help me shine. There's something different, and that's why every day I do take that circle around the block, because we don't know who we're going to meet, and we should be open.
Absolutely. Everybody comes into your life for a reason.
Hmm.
You just have to be open enough to receive it,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Maybe it's for you to help them.
Hmm.
Maybe it's for them to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. So you started this development of you 2.0. That's what I'm going to call it, right? um, besides maybe reading, listening to shows or podcasts or whatever it is, what are some of the steps that you realize that, wow, this is truly what I've been looking for?
So, I had to take different things. Like I went through a Brene Brown course,
Mhm.
um, coaching, being open, being coachable, being trainable, being able to say, you know what, I'm not perfect, and take advice from people who are the experts in that area, right?
Mm.
Learn from others. I always try to learn something new, just like you said, when you walk around the block and you meet somebody new. Like I always try to learn from people who are coming into my life. Doesn't matter who they are.
Right.
It could be like a waiter, right?
Mhm.
Like, what can I learn from them? But when you look at the coaching and training, like if you're a coach and a trainer and you don't have a coach, that's a
So
big red flag to me. I'm like, well, wait a second. Why don't you have a coach? That
right.
doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, right?
Yeah, yeah. I got to tell you, I agree 1,000% because if you don't think you need a coach, that means you also think that you can't learn.
And if you're not learning, you're dying.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen, the best athletes in the world all have coaches, and guess what? They rely on their coaches. So why, if you're not making $300 million a season or whatever these guys are making nowadays, and they have multiple coaches, they don't have just one. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have one that we all hear about. But usually, most sports teams have probably 30 coaches. They have strength and conditioning coaches. They have mental conditioning coaches. They have speaking coach. Well, maybe they need more speaking coaches. They need to hire me. So because so many
Absolutely.
athletes, I hate when they get on the microphone and they're like, oh, blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh my gosh, did nobody train you? You're representing this incredible team. You're an incredible athlete, but when you speak, you sound like you're still in second grade. But they all have this ability to be great because of the mindset, right? But now we need to make sure that they're connecting their mind with their mouth. And
Yeah.
that's
And like,
where we have to train fully, right?
right. And what about like mindset, heart set, skill set, tool set? Like all of
Mhm.
those things come together
Mhm.
and you got to be open to it.
Yeah. Which is going to lead us to, for us to take a look at this, take a peek. You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today.
That was powerful.
I'm so happy you think so. I appreciate that.
And shakable was in it.
Look at that, right?
No coincidences.
Yeah, there are no coincidences. You know who said that? Master Oogway in Kung Fu Panda.
I love that. One of my favorites.
When he's asking him and he goes, there are no coincidences,
Yep.
right? And when you think about the unshakable pillars that affect our lives, I only shared 7 there, but we actually go into deeper ones, which is sleep, um, meditation, all of the different things that we need on a daily basis so we continue to grow. Because without growth, what is there? I mean, I don't know. I'm growing every day. You're growing every day. What would it be like for us if there was nothing more we can learn?
That would be so,
Right?
oh my God, I can't even imagine, right? Like
You're like,
how
oh,
would you level up? How would you refine skills? How would you master anything?
yeah. You mastered everything, Michelle. You're like perfect. Oh my God. And if you ever meet somebody who's perfect, wake me up, shake me out, call me.
Right?
I will travel anywhere in the world to go meet that perfect person because I have a billion questions for them.
Me too. I'm with you. Let me know. We'll get
We're
a
gonna
jet.
take a
We'll
trip
fly out
together.
there.
That's right. No matter how much it costs, I am gonna go meet that perfect person.
Absolutely.
Michelle, you are in the system that you've become a master trainer in. You're considered an A. Tell us what that means.
Wow. That is the first piece of my code. That means action. So
Mm.
I don't plan anything. I fly by the seat of my pants. I love freedom, fun, and flexibility. And
Yeah.
that's just a little piece of me.
Yeah. So you said the first part of your code. So let's get into that. But I want to, before we get into that, how did you even discover such a thing as a code? How did you get involved with Code Breaker? How did you even hear about it? Because I'll be honest with you, I heard about it probably 18 months before I was introduced again, and I thought it was poo-poo, right? And but it's an incredible system that truly works. How did you find it?
Well, remember when I told you my life was falling apart? I lost my job and I was trying to build a company and I fell into network marketing.
Mm,
So that network marketing led me to a conference. And at that conference, I met Sherry Tree, who created this methodology.
mm,
And all she had was the cards, right? And her book, Why They Buy.
right.
And that's all she could sell. So I grabbed the books, I grabbed the cards, I was cracking codes. I had no idea what I was doing. And I was flying by the seat of my pants.
Mhm.
And I was on a networking call and I met a trainer. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, it's that thing. Right. And so I ended up um, going through the coaching program for my own business, right?
Mm,
For actually the 2 businesses.
right.
And the first day, that's when I realized what I didn't know. I had just blown a huge deal. It was like $180,000. I might as well have crawled across the conference table and high-fived her in the head. That's how bad it went, Sifu. And on the back end of that, I realized why me and my son couldn't communicate for like 18 years. And
Mm,
he had just come home from college. He wasn't here a couple of days and he didn't want to be around me.
mm,
And I was just starting the program. He came home. I cracked his code with the cards. I laid out my cards. And then we had this amazing conversation about our operating systems and how I literally blew it. It gave us
wow,
understanding and a connection. We have the best relationship ever now.
wow, incredible, incredible. I want to share something with you and everybody. You mentioned this incredible human being. Can I share something with you?
For sure.
Okay, here we go. Take a look. You're going to remember this too.
Here he walks with purpose in his stride. Sifu Rafael, gift from the divine.
I agree. That was Cherry Tree, and it's funny because she's something about what she said, and it's like I said, you got to hug a tree, and she goes, "I'm a tree," and it was that's when I said, "Wow, this woman." Here's the crazy thing: she spoke before I did, and I already had shut the code breaker technology out of my head because I had seen it 18 months prior and it was not represented the correct way. But when I heard her speak, I was blown away. I was truly blown away. I was blown away by you. I'm blown away by your husband too. What a sweetheart. Oh my goodness. That man is so beautiful. And there I am. I get off the stage because I'm speaking and I just go and hug her. I had to hug her, right? So it was such a beautiful moment for I think me, and I hope for her too. And it's the kind of person that she is because the premise is that people matter, and that touched my heart. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry I went on, but I had to share that with you.
Well, and I'm so glad you did. And she is. She truly wants to make a difference in this world, and and really impact people. It was the program was originally built for sales, but it morphed into this whole movement and mission because the results that people were having were not only phenomenal in their business, but they were coming back with stories like me, like it saved our relationship, right? Me and my son, saving marriages, it saved a child from suicide. Like all of these things were happening because people were able to stop judging and start loving and understanding each other and communicating in a way that everyone was seen, heard, and understood.
Wow. Wow. So you had this relationship with a young man who you didn't know. He didn't know you. I'm talking about your son. And coming home and having the cards allowed you to have, and I have the cards right here, right? I'm going to show you. I'm sure you have yours too. So
Yep.
these are the cards we're talking about, people. These are the code breaker cards. Each one represents something different that you can have. If you are interested in this stuff, you're going to see Michelle's information at the bottom. Click on it. Go take a look. I got to tell you, Michelle is a phenomenal coach. We're going to get into even how on earth. So you come home and you start having a relationship with your son. 18 years prior, you were strangers living in the same house.
Yeah. And I thought I knew everything about him.
And cards change that for you?
Yes.
That's nuts.
So if you look at the cards, they all say values, right? So it's
Mm,
literally that person's core values.
right.
And so when I lined up the cards, he is the exact opposite of me
Wow.
from
Got it.
start to finish. So it was a conflict all the way down the line. And when you start to see how completely different each code shows up and the things that they need, all of a sudden your eyes open up. Like he comes from like a head code, right? Not an emotional code. So even as a toddler, when I would hug him, he would freak out. Like, why are you touching me? And I was like, why don't you love me? What did I do wrong as a parent? Right.
Right.
When there's codes that don't like to be touched. So he needed to have love in a different way than I was giving it to him. Gifts, speaking, all of those different things come down to what's important to the person receiving it, not the person giving it.
Mm. I'm just imagining that conversation. How did you even get him to participate when he wanted nothing to do with you?
So when he walked in the door, I literally looked at him and I said, I am so sorry.
Mm.
I have done it wrong for 18 years. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I had the cards in my hand. And keep in mind, I just started the program. So the first code I learned about was blueprint, which is his first code.
Mm.
Okay. And I was like, just do me a favor. Take a look at the information on the cards and sort them in order from most like you to least like you, right? He looks at the cards, he sorts them and gives them back to me, and I line up mine. And you could see his first code is blueprint, mine is action. My second code is nurturing, his is knowledge. My third code is knowledge, his is nurturing. And then my last code is blueprint, and his last code is action. So each one, it was like we were always speaking a different language. We were never on the same page. He thought I yelled. I'm just loud. Right? I'm passionate about things.
Right,
I
right.
always took it as yelling. He was looking for structure and stability, and I was giving him fly by the seat. Let's have fun. Come on. You want to stay up late with mom and have pizza? And he was like, like I mean, I would
He
pick him up.
wanted to go to sleep and study for his next test, right?
Correct. So like I would pick him up early from school, and like we would go to the toy store. My youngest son was like, Mom's the best, right? And he would freak out. It was unplanned. It was unscheduled. We get to the toy store. I was like the lunatic, like causing chaos, pushing the buttons, starting all the toys, riding around on the little bike, shooting hoops, right? I was like a little kid in the toy store.
You and I both.
Right, and he would be in complete and utter meltdown. And I can remember at one point being like, we are never coming back to the toy store again. Right?
And he was happy.
And he was literally in tears because I had pushed him over the edge by him not knowing what to expect. There were no rules. We were going to get in trouble because we were breaking all of them. He had homework to do. He had his own schedule, and I just disrupted his world all by trying to go to the toy store.
Wow. It's incredible when we don't understand the people who are directly in front of us. And it's because of we all are built differently. Even twins, right? Even twins are built differently. They may look identical. But I deal a lot with twins. And I can tell you, so different. So different. And it's very funny because then I have other kids who are not twins but look like twins, and they act almost the same. It's really interesting, right?
Yeah, and my kids were so incredibly different, right?
Mm.
And I can remember before I knew Bank, when they were little, I would be like, you guys don't even eat the same colored popsicles. Like I would have to buy, they have yogurt that came in like only 2 flavors here and 2 flavors there. And I'm like, why can't you guys just like eat the same flavors? I'm buying these yogurts and no one's eating the rest of them. Like, but I never understood like how they were wired. I knew what they liked. I knew what they didn't like. I knew their shows, their foods, their things they like to do. But when it came down to it, what I was missing, and it was for both of them. I mean, it was for my husband, for my past relationships, for my family. What I was missing was what their core values were, what their operating system was. And Bank gives you that ability to open up someone's heart so that you can have that complete connection and understanding and meet them where they are 100% of the time.
Wow. I just had a thought. How different would life have been if your dad had received the cards?
Oh.
Or your mom?
Well, and I did crack their code when I found out about it.
Yeah, but I'm saying early on when you were a baby, right? Oh my gosh.
Everything would have changed. Everything, my life would have been incredibly different. My kids' life would have been different. There's less conflict. You have more confidence, and you're able to truly understand it's not personal, it's personality.
Right. You talk about cracking the code. Let me ask you a question. There's a challenge when you're learning it because you're trying to figure out all the 12 characteristics per code. But then once you get it, um, then the fun starts. Because you can look at politicians, you could look at your doctor, you could look at your neighbor, you could look at somebody on the store and you go, I think I know who they are a little bit, right? It becomes almost a game. But it could be a very interesting game because it can also lead to great relationships because you can align with certain people. You can now communicate with people based on the way you now understand them, while before you didn't understand them. You didn't understand where they were coming from. So you started the program. What was the program and why did you say, I'm going to do this? Right? You went to an event and you met Cherry Tree and she's phenomenal. And you said, I'm going to give her a shot. I'm going to try her program. Was it just a program just to learn it? Was it a program to become a trainer? What was it? And how did you get involved?
So I actually started and came through the program as a client. And the reason I said yes is because I heard her speak and I started to literally look at the entire world differently. And I was thinking about every conversation that I had from when I was a child to that moment in time. And I was like, wait a second. Oh, wow. This makes total sense. Now I needed to understand why. And the other piece was, okay, so I'm trying to mentally crack these codes with very little knowledge. So now I really need to dig deep and figure this out. So when I came through and went through the coaching program that they had. And then I found out after what happened with my son that there was a training program. And at that very moment, I said, wow, I really need to learn how to master communication in people. Because I always thought I was good with people, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I didn't know. And because we all show up and we default to our own personality, no matter how good we are at like shifting and kind of adapting to environments because of our past, I was literally going to not speak to my child ever again. So I really needed to understand and dive into it. And that's when I started the certification program and going through all of that, because one, I knew it was my mission and purpose to help others. I never understood how. In my past business I was building, I was selling breadcrumbs, right? I had built a food company. And I was like, well, oatmeal and breadcrumbs really aren't going to change lives. So I knew it wasn't my purpose, right? So when I fell into this, I realized what my mission and my purpose was. And at that point, I said, the woman that I met on that networking call had no idea what I was going through or how much I was struggling with my relationships. And if she would have never shared with me this, and I would never have heard Sherry speak, I don't know where I'd be. I'd be in a job I couldn't stand. I probably wouldn't have a relationship with my son. Who knows about my youngest son, right? And I probably wouldn't be with John. And so my goal is to empower every single human that I meet, right? And give them the opportunity to truly look at the world through different lenses and have the best relationships that they could ever have. Because relationships and people truly do matter. And it breaks my heart to see what's happening in the world. And if I can impact just one person's life, I've done what I'm here to do. My goal is to impact every human I touch.
Yeah, I love that. Sometimes people have the right lenses. They're just a little dirty. They need to be cleaned up.
This is true. This is true. Yep.
And they're misconstrued in their thinking because of the visions that they have. So sometimes because they're stuck, they're doing the same thing. I mean, this is why I created Sifu's Mind Body Method, to help people to reset, because they are a beautiful human being, but they're emotional eaters, or their habits is, they go to the store every couple of days, and they are automatically, just without thinking, go and pick up ice cream and pick up chips, and eat out of a bag, or eat out of a can, or eat out of a box. And so for me, it's about teaching people how to clean the lenses they already have, so that they can see the beauty that they can share with others. Michelle, when you realize that the power that this new company that you invested in, the power it would give you, not only to impact your personal life, but the life of many, you went all in.
Oh, absolutely.
No hesitation.
No hesitation at all.
And your dog agrees with you.
Yes.
He's like, that's right, she did.
Well, and my dog's wired just like me, so go figure.
See, he's like, yep. So we love the fact, it's okay. It's okay. He's fine. He's fine. I love dogs too, right?
Yes.
So considering everything you've been through, you've seen the light, right? There's a light at every end of a tunnel, and that doesn't mean that we don't go towards the light. Sometimes it's maybe we have to make the light flicker, so it becomes a little disco ball kind of light, and we have some fun till we get to that end of the tunnel. What is the fun aspect of your life currently?
Oh my God, my life is incredibly fun. Like, I love everything about it. I love the
Yeah.
fact that I have such great relationships with my kids now, and with John and everyone around me. And like, when you can start to like not react to people, right? To embrace them and to understand things from their points of view, and to be able to have that connection is priceless. I get to travel, I get to help people. I understand myself, which was the first step, right? I'm not broken.
Right.
I'm not broken.
Mm.
And that was one of the key pieces that played a huge role in my growth.
There is something in the Asian community, in Asia. I'm not sure if it's China or Japan, where they actually take broken pottery and they repair it with gold, to show that these broken pieces are even more beautiful now than when it was all one.
Oh, I
And that's why
love
they repair it with gold, and they're absolutely stunning. And they don't break them on purpose. It's just pieces that actually have been broken by accident and so forth. But it's a pretty cool thought, because we are all pieces. We're pieces of the people we've encountered, the people who've touched our lives. You're a piece of your dad, your mom, your brother, your kids, but all of these pieces is what makes you who you are. And I agree with that philosophy, that all of those pieces, whether they were good or bad, are golden.
Oh, I love that. That is beautiful.
Isn't it? It
Yeah,
is. When I heard about that, I was like, wow, that is so cool.
that is very cool. I got to look into that.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
buy some pieces.
absolutely.
And look, people bring me stuff from all over the world. So if anybody wants to bring me something, bring me one of those from the East, right? Um, Michelle, what an incredible, we barely touched anything about you, and still I am still intrigued by you so much that I think you need to come back, and we need to do more. You need to come on my other shows. You know, I do have 7 now, and it's an incredible time anytime you're on the show. I'm going to give you 45 seconds about tell us what somebody can expect when they click on the link.
When they click on the link below, they're simply going to look at some value cards. They'll look at the information. They'll sort them in order from most like them to least like them. And they will get a free report all about how amazing they are. And it will take you to my calendar link if you would like to schedule a call and go over your report.
Yeah, look at that. In 90 seconds, right?
Less than 90 seconds.
What? That's beautiful. But it gives them a big report. It's not just like 2 paragraphs. It's a whole breakdown, isn't it?
Yeah, of your entire code and what that means. Even how you show up in stress, which is fascinating.
Before we go, can you adapt your code so that you can interact with someone else like you did with your son?
Yeah, so the main thing I want to stress is you're not changing the person you are.
Right.
You're learning to speak the language of the people. Each code speaks a completely different language, and it's just like going from French to German, right? And it's out of respect and so that everyone can be seen, heard, and understood.
Wow, beautiful. Michelle, you, my friend, you're a gift.
Oh, Sifu, so are you, and I'm so honored to be here. And I highly recommend your reset program. That was powerful. Are you going to play that again? Because I loved it.
Do you want to see it again?
I do.
I've never done it twice in one show, but for you, my friend, here we go. You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind-Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today. I'm glad you liked it, Michelle.
I did.
You know who's in the program?
Who?
Jose Escobar.
Wow.
His lovely wife. And I don't just do it so the program is not just for men or women. I also include the kids.
That's awesome.
So my program, it's all inclusive, and it's different for kids. I teach them how to work with kids and all these different things. And women have to fast differently than men and all that stuff. You know, I think I have room for you, Michelle, if you're interested.
That's awesome.
We'll talk.
Absolutely. I would be honored.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, do me a favor. Share this episode with someone that needs to hear the messages that Michelle shared with us today, that you don't need to be stuck where you were. Your relationships don't have to remain. You can enhance them. Connect with Michelle. She's a powerhouse, and she will help and guide you in the right direction. Michelle, hang on for a minute, everybody. Thank you so much. Have yourself an exceptional rest of the day. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.